Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and today we'll be reading some weight loss stories from my website. If you have a weight loss story or a post you'd like to submit to be featured on the channel, just go to lukenarwhal.com/submit. The link is below. You can just share your thoughts on anything to do with weight loss in that post, and if your post is selected, you'll be featured on the channel and receive a small gift. Once again, the link is below. I lost 135 pounds because I was compared to someone else. Hey Luke, I'm a big fan of your stories and I thought of one from my own weight loss journey that you might like. And this is the story of how you should be wary of denial and of how I had a metaphorical mirror held against me to encourage me to lose weight. I was always big when I was younger, but as the years went by, I got bigger and bigger. I gained weight slowly and didn't realize how bad I got, until eventually I'd hit the biggest I'd ever been, 301 pounds. For a 6'2" male, this meant my BMI was 40. For the first time in my life, I was technically considered morbidly obese, but I still kept being in denial, saying, sure, I'm a bit big, but there are people out there worse than me. I'm not too bad. I was in denial and a convenience eater. I ate frozen foods and junk foods, roughly to the tune of about 4,000 calories a day, if not more, all while trying to convince myself that I wasn't eating that badly. I do, or rather what the current climate did, an improv group every week. It's an amateur group where we mostly just play fun improv games. I really enjoyed going and made a lot of friends there, but one in particular was a lot bigger than everyone else. I always found myself, though I'd never admit it, repulsed by the size of this man. Let's call him Paul, and not his real name, but to protect his dignity. And Paul is a nice man, and I've never had a problem with him, but I always thought he was a lot bigger than I was, and secretly, I used to seek some comfort in that. And Paul was doing a scene with one of the other members, and I posted a video of it to my Facebook to show my friends and family the fun of the improv group. I thought it was obvious that it wasn't me, but I was so wrong. Many of my close friends and even my parents commented and said in person that they thought for a second that it was me in that video. They really couldn't tell the difference between me and Paul, a man I considered to be much bigger than I was. I was mortified that people had mistaken me for Paul. I had no idea that to the outside world, outside of my denial, this is what other people saw when they looked at me. And that was the point for me where I realized I had to do something. You never see yourself how others see you, and when you're trying to hide how much weight you gained, denial can be your greatest detriment. So on that day, I booked an appointment with the pharmacist about a diet program I'd heard they were running and started losing weight. I was 301 pounds back in October 2019, and now, a year later, I'm 166 pounds, and I still want to lose a further 10 to 15 pounds to reach my target. The lesson here is, if you are gaining weight very slowly, saying, oh, it's okay, it's only 2 pounds here, 3 pounds there, it's important to make sure that it doesn't spiral out of control, and because that mindset quickly leads to denial until you wake up one day morbidly obese and have no idea how you got there. Stay on track and keep going, Narwhals. You'll thank yourself later. My dad died, and he has not learned a lesson, but I have. So, I was a male sophomore and 17 years old and 270 pounds or more. I ate like a lot. I was a part of my theater program and did dancing for hours a day. I was in Boy Scouts and went camping weekly, if not monthly, and on top of that, I would walk my dog down a road every day, and our road is at least a mile long. I was eating so much that I was still 270 pounds. Then it became Christmas break, and everything was normal until my mom woke me and all my siblings up at 5 in the morning and told us we were going to the hospital because our father had a heart attack that morning at work. So off we all went to the hospital to see our father, who was dying. Well, when we got there, the doctors told us that our father had died on the way to the hospital, but that they were able to bring him back. Then a lot of boring medical stuff happened, and then the doctors told my father that he needed to stick to the diet and that it was odd for a man who was only 40 years old to have a heart attack with no underlying health conditions. My father's dad also had a heart attack, or 3, and as far back as we could find on my father's side of the family, there was always a male in each generation that died of a heart attack or of a condition caused by being overweight. We have such a long history of overeaters, overweight, and generally unhealthy people in my family. My father had died and come back from the dead, and I thought he would learn something about it and change his life for the better. He did the diet for a month or two and went right back to his old ways. He was just like before and did not change anything about himself or the way he lived. My life was changed forever. I decided that I was going to be the one in my family to change for the better. It has been 2 years and I'm now down to 210 pounds. I cut all red meat from my diet and stopped drinking and eating heaps of sugary drinks and snacks. I can no longer stand soda, it tastes too bad and too sweet. I got a couple of exercise machines for Christmas the next year and kept doing the things I love that kept me in shape. I told my mother that at my biggest I was 270 and she was baffled and did not believe me. I learned that sometimes the greatest enablers in your life are your family, and sometimes they just don't know they are doing it to you. But the biggest thing I learned was that some people are fine with their weight, even if in the long run it hurts the people they love. I don't want to be like that, and I won't. That is my story. Thanks for letting me talk, Narwhal. I accidentally turned my life around. The start of my weight loss journey was kind of an accident. I started gaining weight in high school after living my whole life as basically a twig, and honestly, I just kind of accepted that my metabolism had changed, and I was just a chubby person now. A side note, no such thing. It's all about your decisions and actions. Luckily, I was never obese, but I was definitely sitting comfortably in the overweight BMI category. I'd considered trying to lose weight before, but I was actively against logging calories and eating vegetables regularly. I didn't think I could be happy living that lifestyle. Over quarantine though, I finally gathered the motivation to go vegan. I was spending a lot more time cooking and I had already gone vegetarian, assuming that someday in the distant future I'd finally make the full switch. It really helped that my main goal was ethics, I think. Diet changes for weight never motivated me enough, and I was always lying to myself when I claimed that it was about health. And part of me assumed making the full switch was a pipe dream for more motivated people. Uprooting my whole diet and not always being able to order something at every restaurant, it sounded like something I'd give up within the week. But then everything was closed. I didn't have a lot to do besides schoolwork and cooking, and I needed something to focus on to keep myself slightly busy. Suddenly, vegetables were a major part of my diet, but I even found ways to make them taste interesting outside of a boring salad. I was putting avocados in places I'd usually have cheese. I was having baked chickpeas to kick my craving for crisps that had milk fat in them. Even small needed changes like having dark chocolate in place of milk chocolate were better for me and slowly making me accidentally make better choices. After a while, I stepped on a scale out of curiosity more than anything, and I had lost about 8 pounds without consciously making an effort. The dopamine hit from seeing that number go down made me wonder how much I could lose if I actually made an effort. Logging calories wasn't the awful experience I thought it would be. I picked up the habit fairly quickly. I'd feel accomplished every time I went through the day and my calorie bar stayed green. I got an app that also looks at the nutritional value of everything I eat, which helped me pick up patterns and actively change my food behavior rather than lecturing myself for just eating too much. Once I lost a few more pounds, I was even able to start exercising more easily than I ever could at my heaviest. And basically, all the pieces started falling into place. I'm about 40 pounds down now, and while I didn't go into all of this with a goal, I'm comfortably back in the healthy BMI range and I'm thinking of trying to start maintaining soon. Now, I'm not saying veganism was a cure-all. Vegan does not mean healthy, and there's plenty of junk food without animal products. I still had to make good choices, ate whole foods, and look at what I'm putting into my body with each meal. That said, I still regularly eat unhealthy snacks as long as they stay in my calorie limit, but the actual urge to eat junk has gone down with my weight. I know quarantine has been hard on many people, and I'm really lucky to be in the position where it's actually had a positive impact on my weight and health. For those who are still stuck inside more than they're used to and actually have the option, I really suggest taking the extra time at home to your advantage. Home-cooked foods are a big part of my life now, and I don't even miss eating out. Having full control over what you're putting into your body is so great for you in so many ways. And if there's one tip I would give to everyone on a weight loss journey, it's definitely to learn how to cook. And that brings us to the end of the video, Narwhals. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more weight loss stories just like this. And once again, if you have a weight loss story or post you'd like to share to be featured on the channel, and just go to lukenarwhal.com/submit and just fill out the form on that page. And if your post is selected, you'll be featured here on the channel, and plus you'll receive a small gift as thanks. You can submit absolutely anything you want to do with weight loss, from a struggle that you're dealing with, a success or victory that you had, weight loss tips for others, and just getting something off your chest, or what you've learned about weight loss, or absolutely anything else to do with weight loss. And just go to lukenarwhal.com/submit. The link is in the description below. And this has been your host, Luke Narwhal, and until next time, have a good one, Narwhals.